What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including CM Punk on the main differences between AEW and WWE's locker rooms, AJ Lee to AEW, is Undertaker returning to WWE next week, a huge new signing with the WWE, Corey Graves faces fan backlash on Twitter, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into our first story. Our first story looks at Don West announcing that his cancer is in remission. And we start off the video with some amazing news relating to legendary wrestling commentator Don West. Now it's been confirmed by Don West himself that his cancer is officially in remission. Don took to Twitter to announce the amazing news to fans, and he tweeted, "I want to give everyone an update. After 8 weeks of chemotherapy and 13 treatments of radiation, my cancer is now in remission. Thank you for everyone's prayers because they truly worked. I look forward to getting back on the radio doing what I love." This is fantastic news for the legend, and we're really glad he's doing okay. Next up, The Undertaker's WWE Return next week. The Undertaker officially retired from WWE in 2020. His last match would be an acclaimed Boneyard match at WrestleMania 36 against AJ Styles, and then he would have a final send-off at the Survivor Series pay-per-view. Now, fans had assumed that The Undertaker was officially done, but according to a brand new report from Planet A Wrestling, this may not be the case. The report, which has been posted on numerous websites including Sportskeeda, states that The Undertaker is set to appear on SmackDown next week. This is when the show comes live from Madison Square Garden. It'll be interesting to see what role The Undertaker will take on the show. With the Crown Jewel pay-per-view taking place in Saudi Arabia next month, is it a possibility that The Undertaker could be included into the upcoming pay-per-view in some capacity? Now, we don't mean that he's going to be wrestling, but he's still a big attraction in the WWE, and WWE always pull out all the stops for Saudi Arabia pay-per-views. Next up, a huge new signing with the WWE. It's been a long time coming, but it was confirmed yesterday that US Olympic gold medalist Gable Steveson has signed with the WWE. Gable and the WWE have been on great terms for some time, and Gable is certainly someone that the WWE will look to make a huge impact in the company. The news was already confirmed by Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer, and Meltzer added that Gable met directly with WWE Chairman Vince McMahon backstage following SummerSlam a few weeks back. Now, back in 1998, WWE would sign Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle, and he became one of the WWE's biggest stars. Angle would win the title on a number of occasions, so there's certainly a lot of pressure on Gable to become a huge star, but I'm sure he'll do good. Next up, CM Punk discusses the AEW locker room. Now, CM Punk has only been in AEW for a number of weeks now, but he's already realizing the differences between AEW and WWE. During an appearance on Renee Young's Oral Sessions podcast, Punk would discuss how he thinks his AEW run is going so far, as well as his thoughts on a number of AEW wrestlers. One of the things Punk discussed in depth was how the AEW locker room is compared to the WWE locker room that he was in for almost a decade. Punk revealed, "It's a new locker room, but it's not. There's so many familiar faces. I've known Cody forever. Sandra's making tights, Jan's doing makeup. There's familiar faces in the truck, people who've directed WrestleManias. I know a lot of people behind the scenes, a lot of familiar faces, but a lot of new ones too. Some of them make me feel old, but man, dude, some of them make me feel super cool. There's more than one conversation I've had that people in the locker room are like, just have to say that you helped me through a bad spot. People have tattoos based on me." He wouldn't say where they are when he was asked. A lot of it's heavy, but it's all positive and it's overwhelming. Punk is set to face Darby Allin tonight at the All Out pay-per-view, and this will be Punk's first match in 8 years, and many fans are calling it one of the most anticipated matches in AEW history. Next up, AJ Lee to AEW. Speaking of CM Punk, he recently did an interview with WFAN, and in this particular interview, Punk was asked about AJ Lee possibly joining AEW. Here's what Punk had to say about the matter, saying, Punk mentioned, "I would love to see it. I get asked that question every single time I do an interview, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I don't think she wants to do it because she's a teeny tiny person and she has a bad neck. I think the shelf life for females in wrestling a full schedule, is a lot shorter. It's a lot smaller than men, and I think she's so focused on what she's doing now, writing screenplays. She's working on a million different projects, being pulled in so many directions. I think she will probably maybe be receptive to the idea of coming back, but that can't even enter her vocabulary right now. She's so focused on movie scripts and TV adaptations of a book she's working on. Now, it would be great to see AJ in AEW and should add a lot of value to their growing women's division. AJ last wrestled in a match back in 2015 and she hung up her boots for good after having extensive problems with her neck. Since her WWE retirement, she's explored new ventures including writing a successful autobiography as well as writing a Wonder Woman comic for DC. Would you guys like to see the former Divas champion in AEW? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Kevin Nash schools Corey Graves on Twitter. A Raw color commentator Corey Graves caused a lot of controversy yesterday on Twitter as he tweeted out a rather divisive tweet. Graves would tweet that he doesn't appreciate fans coming up to him to ask for photos while he's out for dinner. The full tweet stated, "I hate to be that guy, but I will. While we're all usually more than happy to accommodate fans for pictures etc, it's not cool to walk up to somebody's table mid-meal to ask for a picture. Believe it or not, we're still humans too. Thanks for understanding." And whilst the majority of fans were understanding, some fans claimed that this was simply the price of fame. Wrestling legend and WWE Hall of Famer Kevin Nash replied to Graves by stating, "It takes a second to interact and minutes to explain why it's not a good time. You'll learn." This led to a direct response from Graves, who replied by stating, "Oh, I agree. I didn't ignore. Told the first two I'd be happy to take a photo when I finished, and they were cool with it. That was acceptable to the third woman and she copped an attitude." Now, this social media interaction has led to a lot of debate from fans who ask whose viewpoint is the correct one. What do you guys agree with? Can wrestlers be bothered in public? Is it the price of fame? Let us know in the comments down below. And finally, John Cena's Selfless SummerSlam creative pitch. Now, our final story today offers some insight as to the power that John Cena has from a creative capacity. Cena's defeat at the hands of Roman Reigns at SummerSlam may be his last match in the WWE for some time, but Cena has a number of major commitments in Hollywood and he unfortunately doesn't have the time to devote to WWE. Now, due to this, Cena is willing to put over talent in any way he can. In a report published by Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful.com, he revealed that it was actually Cena's idea to have Brock Lesnar attack him following SummerSlam going off the air. Cena's idea was that if Lesnar attacks him, it would give Lesnar some more of a buzz following his return, and it would naturally make casual fans talk about Lesnar laying out one of the WWE's biggest stars. Now, Lesnar is set to appear on SmackDown on Friday, and it looks like he's going to be a babyface moving forward in a highly anticipated feud with Roman Reigns for the Universal title. What do you think of John Cena's contribution? Let us know in the comments down below. I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.